Across the country, Teach for America recruits and retains high-performing college graduates to teach full-time for at least 2 years in underserved schools. Here in the Chattanooga area, the organization runs 2 programs, both in partnership with the Hamilton County Schools: teacher recruitment, training, and retention, and high-intensity tutoring in the schools. David Baird is Teach for America's Senior Managing Director for Development, based here in Chattanooga. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Ray.
Tell us more about Teach for America.
Teach for America, we've been in Chattanooga since 2019-2020 school year. We're a leadership development organization. We recruit outstanding graduates from all over the country, partner directly with Hamilton County Schools, and bring them here in a subset of about 12 to 13 schools and place them in hard-to-staff subject areas in schools that have historically had a hard time not only recruiting staff, but retaining them. That's sort of Teach for America's bread and butter program. More recently, we've stood up a tutoring arm of our work post-COVID in the last 3 years.
Is this a public effort, a private effort, nonprofit, public-private partnership?
We're a nonprofit organization. We partner with Hamilton County Schools, we partner with the state of Tennessee, and then we draw in some local dollars. We're responsible for raising our own budget here, managing our own budget, and raising local revenue from corporations, individuals, and foundations here in Chattanooga.
What are some of the needs that Teach for America has been able to address?
Principally, the main value add I think the district sees in our work is we position ourselves as a strategic talent partner for them. And so they look across a subset of schools in what used to be called the Opportunity Zone here. It's now Midtown and Missionary Ridge learning communities. Again, schools that perennially have struggled to recruit teachers and retain them. They look to us to, again, extend nationwide through our recruiting infrastructure and bring, again, this group of anywhere from 10, 12, 13 schools in a given year and bring them a group of folks we've vetted and placed them in some of the hardest to staff subject areas like math, science, English as a second language. And then not only that, we actually coach these folks for 2 years. They commit to our program for a minimum of 2 years. We coach them and develop them in partnership with the district and their school leadership. And as a result, we start to see they develop at a pretty quick clip and get results for their kids.
Talk more about where some of these teachers have come from and where they have gone after their time here in the Chattanooga area and Hamilton County.
They come from all over, truly. When I say it's sort of nationwide reach when we're recruiting, I mean, that ranges from out in California. We had someone 2 years ago from Alaska. We bring them here. We support some of the transitional cost of them moving across the country. We pay everybody a transition stipend, a minimum of $4,000 to help get them here to Chattanooga. And then we invest a lot in just helping them get comfortable with each other, with the community, with their school. We run an intensive summer training institute, 6 to 8 weeks, where they're on the ground in Chattanooga, professional development, coaching, and they're teaching summer school through the district. And then your question about where they go after, most of our folks now, this is going to be the 3rd year where over 70% of the folks we recruit stay to teach for beyond that initial 2-year commitment. They return to Hamilton County, teach for a 3rd year, a 4th year. And now, again, we're in our 6th year operating. We're starting to see these folks move into leadership positions in their schools, whether that's through being a lead teacher or department head. Some are going into aspiring school leader pathways. Some are becoming instructional coaches. But we're really proud and excited that we're retaining the talent we're recruiting here. And that affords us an opportunity, I think, to think bigger about how else we can lean in and develop these folks over the course of their career.
Teach for America arrived here in Chattanooga not long before the pandemic. How did the program weather that? And what were some lessons learned that are being applied now to the results that we're seeing now?
You hit the nail on the head. So that first cohort of folks we brought started their summer work in summer of 2019, and then midway through their first year teaching, COVID hit for everybody, tremendously disruptive. Aside from all the impacts at the school level and the work with their kids, I mean, what that really disrupted too was the opportunity for these folks to get familiar with Chattanooga. Chattanooga is such a great city to explore and very easy to fall in love with, but with everything shut down, that really put a lid on really how deep people could go and how they could feel or see a path for future impact. And so not surprisingly, those retention numbers early on beyond the 2 years were pretty low in year 1, year 2. I think it gave us then an opportunity to look internally at some of our systems and think, okay, put the pandemic aside, big question. What can we do to tighten the screws internally with our systems of support? How can we make sure we're fostering an even stronger relationship with Hamilton County Schools than we already enjoy? Basically, how can we lean in to provide that community of support so that folks are feeling at home in Chattanooga and then looking ahead and seeing a place for them down the road. And so that's looked like setting up career conversations with them in their first, second year of teaching, of orienting them to opportunities beyond 2 years in Chattanooga, getting them together for professional development and partnership with the district, things like that, just to make sure they feel a lot of degrees of support from sort of every corner of their post here.
Let's talk about the results that we have seen from Teach for America, the numbers of teachers that have come through the schools.
Yeah, so to date, since that first school year in 2019, 2020, we've supported over 90 first and second year teachers in a subset of anywhere from 10 to 13 schools, placing about 3 a year at each school, 3 first years. This year, we're supporting a cohort of 32 first and second year teachers that are getting, again, that high dosage support from our staff in district schools. And, perennially, the State Board of Education evaluates all teacher prep programs. We're consistently one of the top rated programs as it relates to student growth, filling hard to staff subject areas, and looking at the percentage of educators we're bringing in that share aspects of their identity and background as the kids we serve. So kids that are first in their family to go to college, for example, about 20% of our folks tell us that they're first in their family. Another about 50% say they're from a low income background. So we try to put a premium on reflecting sort of the kids that our folks are going to be serving, reflecting that background in people we recruit.
Talk about the tutoring.
Post-COVID, we rolled out a tutoring fellowship. Organizationally, we asked our district and school partners how else we could be of service in a time where we saw proficiency rates for kids, particularly in reading and math, really drop off a cliff. Not too surprisingly, the answer came back that they needed more capacity. They needed more people to lead small group learning instruction in these critical subject areas to help accelerate student growth back up to proficiency. That led us to sort of ask, with our existing recruitment infrastructure on college campuses all over the country for our teacher corps, what would it look like for us to reach a little earlier in that pipeline and grab a college sophomore, college junior, bring them into our schools as tutors, support them in the same way we sort of support our teachers, and then leverage them to provide an immediate lift in schools in either elementary reading or middle school math. So we, in Chattanooga, deploy this program specifically in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade reading. We focus on frequency and duration, so a minimum of 3 times a week, minimum of 30 minutes a session. We prioritize consistent student to tutor relationships, so kids really get to know this college kid that they're working with. That also capitalizes on a near peer relationship. Kids think it's pretty cool to talk to a college kid instead of their teacher or me. And then I think the most innovative feature of the program is the tutoring. While it's happening live during the school day, it's baked into kids' schedule. It's not an after school program. It's actually happening virtually. So because these folks are on college campuses all over the country, they're zooming in to lead tutoring live with their kids. And then we anchor the program by paying an in-person veteran educator at each school in Hamilton County to operationalize the thing. And so they're identifying the kids, they're picking the grade level subject area, they're figuring out the schedule, and then they're actually observing and coaching the tutors in concert with our staff. And so over the course of each fall and spring cohort we run, we see this really great partnership with the school where they're embedding it into their programming, and we're able to tie in and provide pretty high level support once a week to the tutoring fellows. We also pay those folks for each semester they participate.
Talk more about your background and how you got connected with Teach for America.
I'm from Chattanooga originally. I grew up here and then went to UNC Chapel Hill for school. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I studied Spanish language and literature in my major, and then had a few friends that I respected who did Teach for America as a career. They applied to Teach for America when they were seniors to be teachers, and I thought that would be a compelling opportunity for me to grow and have an opportunity to go and actually make a difference in some communities where I could teach. So I was a Spanish teacher in Baltimore. I got accepted to Teach for America, moved to Baltimore, taught middle school Spanish for 2 years. And then that sort of set the trajectory of my path since. I got the opportunity to work for Senator Corker in DC doing some federal policy, then worked abroad as an instructional coach in a bilingual high school in Madrid, Spain, and then came to a city right outside Boston, Massachusetts, in Chelsea, and was an assistant principal, then a head of school at an alternative charter school for underage overcredited kids, meaning they had either dropped out of school or been kicked out of school. We recruited that population specifically to bring them to our school to help them get a high school degree. And so I, in my role as a head of school there, a lot of community engagement, a lot of family engagement, position our school as a resource to equip these kids to the best degree possible with the skills and competencies they need to be successful. I then did some state policy work with the Commissioner of Education in Massachusetts before finally getting the opportunity to come back to Chattanooga. Teach for America as an organization was looking for somebody who's familiar with Chattanooga to help them, I think, build some of the community-wide partnerships we would need to sustain and grow. The opportunity felt right to us. We had just had our first son at the time. We're ready to move from Massachusetts, and so my folks are still here. My siblings are here. 2 of my 3 siblings are here, and so it felt right to come. I've been here in seat for about 4 years.
And now that we're at this stage of the school year, what does the rest of that school year look like for Teach for America? You're always planning ahead for the next school year. How is the next school year already taking shape at Teach for America?
This year, it's about making sure our folks finish the year strong with their kids. For the ones that are in their first year, again, it's keeping their head straight, making sure they're getting to spring break. They come back from spring break with a line on the end of the year, finishing strong, and then keeping them engaged over the summer. A lot of them will come teach summer school themselves. A lot of them will stay in Chattanooga for the summer and just take advantage of the city and how beautiful it is. And some will go home to just be with their folks, be with their friends. For the second years, we're engaging in those career conversations. Like I said, again, finish the school year strong, and then let's think about what year 3 looks like for you, year 4 looks like for you. Is that going to be continuing at your original placement school? Do you want to go to another school in Hamilton County? And we bring the district in for a lot of those conversations. Again, I think it's communicating a continuity of support from our end, from the district end, from the school end, to make sure they're thinking forward. And then as you alluded to, we're constantly planning for the next year. So we just wrapped up our 3rd of 4 application windows, whereby we're interviewing folks, again, from all over the country who have specified that they want to come down to Chattanooga, and we play sort of a matching game as we interview them. If they get accepted, then we're starting to sell them on, here's why you should take this offer and come to Chattanooga. So we're doing that right now. We have one more window where we'll sort of finalize the cohort for next school year, and then it kicks into working really closely with the district in this footprint of schools. Where are y'all wanting to lean in? What content areas are we prioritizing here? How can we be the best lever y'all can pull to ensure that this subset of schools is staffed up before summer hits, so they can actually, the principals, the leaders there, can actually be planning for the real work ahead of sort of setting their strategic priorities academically for the year.
And for people who want to learn more about Teach for America in this area, where can they go online?
Our website's teachforamerica.org. There's an even more local website that's tfanashchat.org if you want to get really familiar with the work specifically happening in Chattanooga. Invite you to come check out our stuff.
All right, David, thanks so much.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.